pardon me for being a bit late on this subject, but you know this channel too well. Come on, you think I'm ever going to be on time when it comes to news? Apple recently has had their event, and I was not actually able to record my live reaction because unfortunately I had learned some devastating news that day that basically ruined my mental health throughout the rest of the day, and as a result I decided it was not a good idea to film. Sorry, no reaction for this one. But the truth is, I don't even think I need to give you it because truly this event was actually really boring. And once again, I just continue to be disappointed by how Apple treats the iPad. So let's dive in. To begin this recap, we begin at Apple Park with Tim Cook announcing that this is going to be the biggest event ever for iPad. Yeah, Tim just lied directly to our faces. I'm sorry, this was not a big event for iPad at all. They released 2 new iPads at this event. The iPad Air 6th generation now, with the changes following as there's now a 12.9-inch model, or excuse me, it's now a 13-inch model. I don't know if it's actually 12.9 technically, or if it actually was bumped up to 13 inches. I don't know. But there is a new 13-inch iPad Air this time. The cameras were also moved from the portrait top of the device and to the landscape top of the device now. Yeah, I guess the selfie cam is in a better spot. It also has the M2 chip because of course Apple's going to put the M2 chip in it. Why wouldn't they? And that's pretty much it in terms of things about the iPad Air that I could remember at this point. And then we move on to iPad Pro. Apple spent so much time talking about this and acting like, oh, this is the biggest iPad update ever. And okay, yeah, the hardware is once again impressive. It's extremely thin. It's even thinner than the iPod Nano, actually. It has a new tandem OLED display, meaning just 2 OLED panels stacked on top of each other for double brightness, I guess. Not entirely sure if that's exactly how science works, but okay. It has a new keyboard with a function row. It has a new Apple Pencil Pro with barrel roll functions, so that way you can basically use it like a paintbrush. Got the camera shifted to the center. Speaking of cameras, it also lost a camera. Yeah, lost a camera on the back. So bye-bye ultra wide. Hope nobody needed ya. This iPad also debuted the M4 chip. Yes, we thought M3 already came soon enough. I guess they were too excited for M4, so we now have M4, I guess. Again, why? You can definitely tell I'm not impressed with any of these iPads. Why? It's because once again, Apple has failed to address the actual problems with the iPad lineup. I've literally gone on the record how many times now explaining that truly I don't care about what hardware upgrades Apple makes to the iPad lineup. It truly doesn't matter what hardware upgrade they make because that's not the issue with the iPad Pro. It is not the issue with any of the expensive iPads. Oh, speaking of expensive, the iPad Air, the 13-inch model starts at $800 now. The new 11-inch iPad Pro is at $1,000 and the 13-inch iPad Pro is $1,300. So yeah, we got even more expensive iPads. And if you want to get a non-binned version of the M4 processor, you're gonna have to go for the terabyte models. Again, why would you want a non-binned version of processor? Because literally you can't even take advantage of the binned version of the processor. Oh, and same if you want the nano texture display option that they have now. If you want nano texture, you have to go for the terabyte models. And again, you're spending how much money on these iPads? When compared to a MacBook Air, the M2 MacBook Air you can buy on Apple's website today. That MacBook Air is going to be more capable than a $3,000 iPad Pro. Yes, iPad Pros get that expensive now. It's stupid. Again, it doesn't matter what hardware changes they make to these iPads. Hardware is not the issue. It has always been the software. Well, okay, we got new Final Cut Logic with AI features. Again, I would not use either of those apps. For one, Logic especially, because when it comes to recording audio, I should know this, I record music myself. It's a cable nightmare. You have to plug a microphone, a mixer, a guitar cable, a MIDI device, monitors. You have so many different cables you have to plug into the device, and one USB-C port and a dock is not going to be enough. So yeah, if you are a professional audio recorder, the iPad Pro is still not the device to get, even with the AI functions. And same when it comes to Final Cut, because once again, Final Cut for the iPad is still not as professional as Final Cut for the Mac. That and the features they announced with that, like you can now pair your iPhone to your iPad and get a direct camera feed and record it straight into Final Cut on the iPad. Why do I have a feeling that feature is also coming to the Mac version of Final Cut Pro? I don't know, just a hunch. And as a result, I can't be excited. I just cannot be excited because, once again, hardware has never been the issue with iPads. Never has it ever been an issue. The issue has always been the one thing Apple refuses, for whatever reason, they refuse to fix the software. It has always been the software that has limited the device. It's the reason why the Pixel book that Google made has failed. It's the reason why Windows market share has actually been decreasing. It's because the operating system and the software sucks so much. And to think, Apple, the company who's famous for software optimization and allowing the software to take full advantage of the hardware it's running on, how is it that they can't get iPadOS on their iPads right? It truly baffles me. They can't even get iPadOS on my M1 iPad Air right. That device actually overheats. It's insane. And again, iPadOS can't do squat compared to macOS. So how is my iPad Air overheating? I don't get it. This entire event just continues to show that either Apple truly is ignorant of the situation as of why their iPad sales are down, and sure, they're going to get a spike because, oh, new thing, and all the Apple fanboys and fangirls are going to buy it straight away. And once the initial sales rush is done, the sales are going to be extremely slow for that thing because, again, Apple continues to ignore the actual problems with the iPad Pro and all of the expensive iPads for that matter. In fact, truly, the only iPad I think I can actually recommend to people at this point, well, okay, there's two of them I can recommend. Number one, the budget iPad. Why? Because it actually got a price reduction this time. Yes, I can actually recommend the budget iPad because now it is at a much more reasonable $350. $450 was just too much for that, especially when you're stacking that up against the iPad mini. Yes, the display size is smaller on the iPad mini, but from a feature set perspective, the iPad mini is worth the compromise in screen real estate and the extra $50 by a long shot. But now that the budget iPad is back to its mid $300 price tag, yep, that's now worth it again. You can buy the budget iPad, get to my full recommendation. And the iPad mini, if you want a more feature-rich iPad. Any iPad above that, I just can't recommend it. You can't take advantage of the M chips in the iPad Air or the iPad Pro. You can't take advantage of so many aspects of these higher-end iPads. And if truly the best things that these iPads can do are literally the same as the budget iPad, then just get the budget iPad. Don't waste all this money. Once again, Apple has failed to impress me. I was not surprised, actually. I knew that I was going to go into this event with extremely low expectations, and as it turns out, they pretty much delivered on the fact that I was going to be disappointed. That's my thoughts on the Apple event. Was it exciting for you? Wasn't for me. Alright, thank you for watching. Do me a favor and interact with the stuff below. My name is DeWolf, Random Alpha, signing out.